Good evening, everybody. Good evening. It's the Truth Serum. It's 20 after 11, East Coast. I couldn't take the pressure. I just watched a whole PBD video interview with John Gotti the third. Actually, it's the third. Junior was the notarized, and one of the greatest interviews I've ever seen. And I admit I was wrong when like Mike Francis and how they went in Norby Walters and things like that. And so I was seeing from the peripheral, oh, John got John Jr.'s son, the third. Well, he went and he talked to the government, and I'm on here. Oh, geez, they're different. John Gotti the third. He's different than his father. He's a rat and all this other kind of stuff because I was indoctrinated with all this bull crap, like and stuff that I should know better about. Stuff that I debated Jeff, or just stuff that I would talk about with that sit down with Jeff Nadeau on how he gets his information, that channel, the sit down, and stuff that I was critiquing him on. I fell for the same stuff that I didn't like Nadeau talking about because he's just a Google man, But I was around the mob and I saw things differently, in my defense on that. How's it going, Jets? And so, just like you've seen in the presidential election, all the media, how everything is so slanted, then all they want to do is crucify John Gotti III, the Teflon Don's son, in and out of prison. So he gets on there with PBD Patrick David, and they go through a 3-hour interview. And I wanted to just state a couple things. So he went in. So all these mob tube people and your Nadeaus that are the Google experts and all that, I finally saw from my own eyes out of the third, John Gotti the third's mouth, that what they were doing to him. So he fought. They're bankrupting the guy. They're bankrupting him. He fought. What comes out in the interview? All the government misconduct. They're pressing. They were charging him with cases with witnesses that were dead 3 years. The stuff they fabricated and put into documents, and guys like Jeff Nadeau and other Google meisters sit there and do their channels and they don't know what they're talking about. They're never around the mob. And then what I also stated to Nadeau in just response to Nadeau was they create documents, the government, they create evidentiary stuff. But guys like that don't want to listen to it. And that's his business. I'm not going to go back and forth with him anymore because he's whatever. He's way in my rearview mirror. But he's got all those people listening to him. And I also was stating some other things that John Gotti III stated in this interview. I tried to express and articulate and communicate that you see MobTube, YouTube people like Nadeau, Mike Francis doesn't reveal a lot of things. Sammy the Bull's just a bum. And there was Shadowmen, I call them. Shadowmen, people that you can't Google Meister. You can't Google. They're in the peripheral. They're Shadowmen, I would call them. I met a couple of them here and there. My godfather was a shadow man. God rest his soul. He did work, of course, for the mob. And so Nadeau and those armchair mafia experts, they don't know this kind of stuff. They don't know it. If they didn't see, they go by whatever the government tells them in the 302 proffers. They got 5K1. They got a lot of different stuff. And he sits over there and he will just stand firm on all this evidence that can be completely compromised. And that's what I was thinking about when I was watching the interview. And all the misconduct that the FBI and everything they do, not only to John Gotti III, but other people all over the place. I don't know why John Gotti III isn't suing the federal government, because they knowingly did these things and cost him millions and millions of dollars in defense, for lawyers. And you know, it was very, very, very enlightening. And I took the bait to just think that this John Gotti III was a rat. He got right up there and said, name one. He didn't rat on one guy. He took it on the chin. His last charge, he was willing to go and fight. Let's go to war again. But then it all, it went away. That's when he talked about the 45 minutes that everybody says John Gotti III's a rat. It's not like that. I took half the bait, but I thought there's something more behind it. There's something more behind it. And he hasn't done he hasn't come out. John Gotti III doesn't come out. He's a family man. He does his thing. He's had enough. Walk away from the mob, and that's that. And he finally wanted to set the record straight with PBD and tell his side of the story. So all the Jeff Nadeau's and the sit downs with these armchair, whatever they are, that come up there and they think they know about the mafia because, well, yeah, he knows historical things with a broad paintbrush. He knows this but you can't hang that. You can't hang your hat on that. Whatever these YouTubers are and all these wannabe gangsters, and they get up there on YouTube like these experts, like Jeff Nadeau claims to be. But God bless them. God bless them. I don't want to, but they don't understand that aspect. They just get up there and defend it. Well, I read it here. I read it here. And if you don't know by now that information and data collecting could be so compromised, you should know that going in. He never says allegedly or anything. He gets rats on his show. He pays rats to do shows. Sammy the Bull Gravano, that rodent, and everything else. And John Gotti III was very, very impressive. Very, very, very impressive. Set the record straight. He wasn't a rat. Mike Francis was a rat. Sammy the Bull Gravano was a rat. John Gotti III spent, if he was a rat, how did he end up spending over $10-11 million in lawyer fees if he was a rat? They were pulling people, witnesses. They were using witnesses against John Gotti III that were never around him. The government had a bullseye on John Gotti III's back, and they would just do any tactic they could to put him away. 5 indictments and 5 different indictments in 37 months. They just kept going after him. Witnesses. There was a stabbing in a bar. They tried to connect Gotti III to. The witnesses they put in the FBI report, one of them was dead. One was in jail. It was all gibberish. Another time, what got exposed was one of the feds was just creating documents. Okay, Google Meister, they create documents. And then if you go to the proffer, the 302, like Nadeau and all that, and these guys want to be gangster channels, but they go there and they look and they go, oh, look at this FBI report said this about Johnny No Nose or Tony Two Fingers, and then guys like Nadeau, they sit there and they hang their head on, and it's all manipulated. The historical record is manipulated. John Gotti III beat it, but they bankrupted him. But then he did the movie. He wrote a book. He's getting back on track. Sir Drum, Spataro, Anderson, Jets. How's it going? That is one hell of an interview with Gotti III. That is one hell of an interview. I've been telling you all along how the government and these feds, and I was close to a fed, a woman fed. I was close. Ivan Lore, how's it going? He still got a show. Somebody said that he had some problems. And they do. He had to go get some counseling or something. I don't know. Someone said that he broke down. I don't know. Well, God bless him. Mental health gets bad and stuff, but I hope Nadu's doing all right. But I just wanted to show that guys like that, which I've been talking about all along, that how if the government and misinformation, government misinformation, the 202, the 302, the proffer, this and that, it's manipulated. Most of it's redacted, and what's left is gibberish. When they come for you, it's all holes barred. And John Gotti's father, beat a lot of cases. So Gotti III still had the name, and they just went at him nonstop. The FBI, nonstop. So much misconduct. He wrote later on to the DAs and everything, talking about all the misconduct that went on. He wrote the judges and DAs. He wrote 6 or 7 of them, and only one wrote back. I would sue the living crap out of the federal government because it's all on record. It's all on record. So maybe the Google Meister want to go do that. And let me tell you something. Patrick Bet David, he's got a guy. He's got an assistant right there that's typing and fact checking everything on the spot. You can rest assured you're not getting any curveballs by Patrick Bet David for that 3-hour interview. And I was looking at this back then, and I thought, Gotti III, I thought he might have cooperated. He went in for 45 minutes, and he showed the document of what that meeting was with the government. He showed it to PPD. He's got the documents. This Gotti III, he should be a lawyer. This John Gotti III, John Jr.'s son. John Gotti, the notorious Teflon Don, was a junior. This was his son, the third. He had the paper of that 45-minute meeting. And I got fooled because my thing is, no matter what, you don't go to the office and sit and do any type of cooperating type of things. But at this point in time, Gotti III had to get it over with, walk away from the life, be done with it. He was fighting these things as a civilian, as being walked away from that life. But they would just keep trying to connect them to all this crazy stuff. So, in my eyes, he didn't cooperate. Because when he showed that paper and he went in there for 45 minutes, he was like, let's rock and roll. Let's rock and roll again. Let's rock and roll. We're going to end it one way or another. They've been going after him for years and years and years. And so that's not even ratting what he did. So whatever that was nothing like a Mike Francis. That was nothing like these other phony rats that are out there. And he said a lot about Sammy the Bull Gravano too. And Sammy the Bull Gravano is the biggest lying rodent ever. Fabricated all this stuff, and You all know the story about him. You know, that's a termite. Yeah. You were on They Do show last night. He had people calling out Mikey Scars, Gotti Jr., saying that they're not safe in New York. Yeah. He's quite a character, that guy. His buddy, New York City Crime Spot, he came on there. He's all right. He's all right. He came on my show. He came in my comments in good faith. He's all right. That's a man. His buddy there, Jeff, is a weasel. He's a weasel of weasels. He's a Mama Luke. He knows he does research and he knows historical obvious things about guys and all this and that from afar. From afar, he knows all this kind of stuff from afar, which, you know, and then he tried to question me about Angelo being in prison. You know, he's trying to question me, a scrub like that. And he goes and he researches compromised information in certain cases. Of course, there's certain stuff that he can uh, uh, research that might be factual. Yes, but when he interviews all rats on his show, he's just a rat show. So when I was around gangsters, my godfather was a serial killer. When you see guys like that, they're all like this Jeff Nadeau and all these smoke and mirrors, like in court of law and like in legal terms, they're already dealing with dirty hands. They're scrubs. You know, you're already dealing with dirty hands. A chain is only as strong as its weakest link. He's a Google guy, Google Meister. So throw away everything after that. You know, but that's his business. People got a right to follow him and all this. But I like the NYC Crime Spot. We went back and forth. When a guy from the mob was in the prison and I was talking to him on the phone, blah, 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 blah. And then they were talking smack. But at least NYC Crime Spot was a man and came in and we talked nice. That's a man. Nadeau, he's just a doughboy and he don't know what he's talking about. He thinks everything he Googles is the fact. I've been saying all along, the government can manufacture evidence. And this was brought up also in this interview, which I was saying before. The government, when you say, "Oh, we heard the recordings. We heard the recordings about this and that." Now get this, folks. And I know this happened back in the day when I was running crazy. The government can manufacture tapes. Say they got a lot of recordings from they got wiretaps on guys. And they have a whole bank of words and dialogue. They can fabricate certain words here and there and put them together and make it sound like whatever they want it to sound like. They can make it sound like somebody's gonna rat or somebody's a rat. So they can manipulate that. So, and I've been saying that all along. And so then people think, well, that's the historical record. The federal government and the FBI is so crafty at their information gathering, whether it's paperwork, wiretaps, rats. They were using names in indictments where the people were already dead willy-nilly. So when you watch guys like the homeboy over there, it's what I've been saying all along. And I was telling stories about some mafia stories about this and that. And here's Doughboy over there going, "Oh no, what does he do? He Googles, oh, the truth serum said this. Oh, geez, I don't see it. I can't find it. Oh, the truth serum's full of crap. Oh, the truth serum said this." About Shadowmen that you can't Google. You can't Google. I knew some. You can't Google them. They're not in the mafia lore. They're not in proffers and 302s and 202s and FK1s. They're not in there. You these armchair researchers, you can't Google it. You can't Google it. If you tell a story, but I don't like to use names anyways. I don't use first and last names. I don't do that. Wherever my channel goes, uh, it goes. I'm not a rat. I'm not a rat, and I don't have immunity for whatever. I didn't perform any crimes of violence or killing or any of that, but I don't use last names. Like Doughboy over there that only interviews rats, what's this guy's last name? What's this guy's last name? What's that guy's last name in that story? I use Tony, John, Jimmy, Mickey and Mike, Billy and Sally. If you don't like it, run. That's all. But I was wrong about Gotti III because I thought when he went in that building, he was ratting. He wasn't ratting. He showed all the paperwork to PBD, and you're not getting any curveballs by Patrick Bet David. You're not getting any curveballs by him. He's got a guy right there 10 feet away checking things out. And they did check things out that they were posting right there in real time. In real time, they were showing. Thank you, Ivan Lore. Anthony Vigil, the mafia died with Gotti. No more, nothing left. I stand on that right there. Because people come in and they talk about, well, the father's nephew's brother's cousin's child from the Gambino families. There's no 5 families anymore. The government runs the rackets. Okay, there's bookmakers. There's bookmakers that might have an Italian last name. Well, it's not organized crime. There could be an Irish guy that's a bookmaker. It's not organized crime. Anybody can be a bookmaker. So people just think, oh and then there's technical. I can't think of the word. Like forgery and stuff like. There's high tech crimes. Now maybe there could be a guy with a mafia last name, a recognizable mafia last name that might be doing high tech crime, forgery, and stuff like that. It doesn't mean that the mafia is just a guy with a mob name that's doing whatever the hell he's doing. The structural aspect of the mob is gone. Well, they'll say, well, we looked this up and, we got these names of active mob. Look it up right now. It'll tell you the active mob hierarchy in families of the mafia in New York City. It'll just be some historical name that's connected to it. That generation is gone. The rest of them are in prison, like Angelo, dying because they're 80 years old. They're gone. So that's over. We want to romanticize, the mafia is still alive. No. I'm not going to come up here and blow smoke up your ass. No. You got YouTube channels, one, JN, that comes up there and spews all that stuff. And then it's like, well, I use the term shadowmen. Now, I've seen shadowmen that were respected, and we didn't know. I wasn't privy. I wasn't privileged to approach. One time, I was out in the parking lot. The guy come in. The boss, Sam, would talk. Boom, boom, boom. And he just went, yeah, hello. Oh, you're Sam's boy. But boom, boom. Good looking. Bam. Nobody knows their names. The boss, Sam, knows the name. Nobody. It's not in conversation. They got their own exclusive thing. And you can't Google it, JN. You can't Google that. and and they existed. They existed, and I used to call them guys Shadowmen. Shadowmen. It was crazy one time. I saw a guy, Niagara Falls, which I would consider a shadow man. And I went all the way down to New York City to the racetrack, and I saw the same guy. Maybe he was just a horse better too, you know. But I went all the way down to I was, he didn't know I was there or anything, but I was a little young and dumb. I was like, whoa, but nobody would be coming after me, not during that time. But they existed. And Gotti III said that. He said there's people that were around the mob that nobody knows about. JN. There's people around that you can't Google. I mean, and then whatever you Google about crime figures, any information they put up there, they could say, well, so and so was born January 1st, 1962. They could put the basic stuff up there, but other than their name and their date of birth, there's nothing. Everything else is questionable that you research. Google, look up the proffers and all coffer, proffer, 5K1. They got 18 different names. But other than their name and date of birth, anything you research about the mafia is questionable. It's questionable. And numbnuts doesn't seem to understand that, because I questioned some of the stuff he was saying. But we've put all that to bed because, I don't need to do all that. But I've been trying to prove a point, and Gotti III did a 3-hour interview with PBD, and it was confirming what I was saying. A lot of it, the average Joe can't decipher. A lot of it, the average Joe can, if they're thinking right. And there's so many things on this mob tube and Mike Francis, Sammy the Bull, and all that. They're rats. Number one, they're rats, and their historical accounts are whack. A lot of times they're whack. Sammy the Bull Gravano, I don't know how anybody could believe anything he says, but he's got a right to hustle, and he could do everything like that. Hey, Mr. Michael Mormil, how you doing? Anderson, all right. So that was a great interview. That was a great freaking interview, and I'm glad other people will watch it. Whoever my subscribers are, it runs parallel to what I was saying about some of these topics a long time ago. I mean, that's all. Tommy Bahama, how's it going, bud? So it's like in life, it's just in life. There's people you talk to, boom, 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 but you got to read people. You got to read people. I was around guys, and I was street smart and I was book smart, but you have to read people when you're in dialogue. What are they talking about? You got to be a forensic psychologist. I got a degree in psychology and everything, but you have to really have skills almost forensically, to where when I was running around, I was young, I was dumb, I made a couple mistakes, but my godfather saved me. But I learned quick, being around these guys, taking them, giving them rides all over the place, going to strip joints. They're drunk, they're holding guns, they're got guns, and I learned real quick what to say and what not to say. And you got to read these people. And, I was stupid when I first got in there. My godfather was an assassin for the Colombo family, and I thought I could rely on him to protect me. So when I got in and started running some errands, a couple of guys, they would all, they would ride me. They would ride me. They'd talk smack. They'd talk this and that. And I challenged them a couple times. I'm not a made man, and then you can't talk out of line and things like that. Cosa knows omerta stuff, goofy stuff like that. And you know, I'm telling a guy, take your gun off. I'll fight you. I'll box you. He probably would have whooped me. He probably would have whooped me anyways. But I learned quick. I learned quick, and I started taking things with a grain of salt because they were tipping me money. I was thinking, okay, I'll play the game. There was a gambling ring, but I was just and I worked for a steel broker that was part of a gambling ring. You know the story. My people know that backstory, and I more or less had to learn quick on getting pissed. Sir Drums, how's it going? Over the summer, Nadu was spewing his BS on his podcast about he was the first one to break MOB information on YouTube. I was the first. A lot unsubscribed for his channel in a New York Minute. He's whack. He's whack. I mean, I don't really take glory because he's an irrelevant guy, but I wanted to throw some jabs his way, but he ain't the first one to break anything. He's nothing. He doesn't qualify as an investigative journalist. He Googles and he looks up the 302s and he talks to rats. He's Albanian, Tommy Bahama. He's Albanian. And will he ever come back? Now, I came on here and I admit it. I read John Gotti III. I read him wrong. But I saw after this interview, and he provided the paperwork and all the documents, and PBD is fact checking them in real time. And to see what they did to that kid, well, he's my age, the third, he's my age, but to see, and he came with the receipts. And I got indoctrinated, just like the media and other goofy stuff, and some gangsters, well, they're not in the life, they're old timers, and even old time gangsters were fooled about Gotti III. Well, they just consider that if you sit with the FBI for 45 minutes, but what that meeting was, and he was very eloquent and he communicated very effectively what that meeting was with the FBI, that 40-minute thing, and he had the document to show it and what it pertained to. Not one person went to jail over John Gotti III. Not one person went to jail from John Gotti Jr. or his son. Not one person. You got numbnuts over there spewing all that stuff. Even if he saw the facts, this bum, even if he saw the facts, he would still stand on his gibberish. He would still stand on his gibberish like a Mama Luke that he is. He would still stand on it because he can never be wrong. I admit when I'm wrong because I was duped. Well, like there's other guys that sat down with the government. And of course, that had an impression on my mind that you don't sit down with the government, just carte blanche. It's embedded into my mind. So I'm automatically going to think that's a rat. But I was wrong because they've had 5 indictments. He's been charged with over 300 different crimes, And he challenged them at the end when he went back there and sat down and he showed the paper to PBD and what it was and everything else. And I said, wow, he was like his father. Gotti III was like Gotti Jr. I admit when I'm wrong. I admit when I'm wrong. So does numbnuts want to walk? Well, does numbnuts want to watch that PBD? He'll twist that around. I saw him interviewing rats on his show where I knew the backstory about whatever might have happened just from being around the club or just things that might have been common knowledge. Jack the Clipper, how you doing, pal? So there's just some things. Now, I wasn't privileged to sit down or whatever and things like that, but there was just some historical things about certain families, certain characters that was just common knowledge. Common knowledge. And I'm watching this guy, even John A. Light, who I'm always mixed on that, but I'm watching this other guy and all his subscribers and all the views, and I'm thinking, that's totally wrong. It's just 100% wrong. But he has a right to put on his channel. Whoever believes it can believe it. Whoever doesn't, that's all right. We're all, everybody's a grown adult. They can choose. I like vanilla ice cream. Some people like that. Chocolate. Okay, I respect that. Let him get whatever he gets. Suckers. But I'm trying to be nice. Forgive me, God. Forgive me, Jesus. I'm trying to be nice. But I take it as those people can't defend themselves. They're doing life in prison and they're dead. And he's just a scrub that doesn't have any integrity to even phantom if he's wrong, Go Yankees, Clipper, go Yankees. Hey, hit the like button, folks. This guy's telling me that. Jack the Clipper, Tommy Bahama, they had me censored on here for a while. They had me censored, I was talking about some things, political things and other stuff, and they had me hey, Eminem, no, how's it going? 37 people in here. I'm lucky I could get 12 views for a video. So, everybody has a right to watch, but it's like you got guys like that are just like pissing on their graves, pissing on the historical accounts because he Googled something and it said something different. Anybody with half a brain would automatically know. You don't have to have a high IQ or have a master's degree, or you just have to have all you need is a associate's degree in spotting bullshit. That's all you need. Associates. Massimo. Oh, all right. All right, we're on the road. Jeez, I should have got a coffee. Usually it's nicotine and caffeine. I get to bed about 3 o'clock in the morning. So welcome to the new people. I'm gonna try to rise my channel up. I was doing current events, political stuff, and everything else, but I got a lot of mob stories left. That are interesting. They're interesting things. I saw a lot with, and one thing that caught my eye. Sometimes people speak without reflecting. Yeah. I hate to say this. I hate to say it, but it's you folks probably already know. Like Gotti the third was talking about his dad and his gambling. Well, he had enough money to blow a lot of money. So, he was like a degenerate gambler. He was very, very generous. He would sit and play whatever card game and give them the money to gamble against them with, stuff like that. But even the guys I was running around with, they were degenerate gamblers. 80% were degenerate gamblers. And the money they would blow, and they would get in trouble, and they'd get in big, big trouble, because a lot of times you get in deep with one family, and you get in deep with, say, the Colombo family. A Colombo guy gets in deep with the Colombo family, Owen, and they want to bet with another family, and then they go bad there. So now they're it's they all know, the mafia sold drugs. Okay, Mike Francis, has he admitted that yet? The mafia sold more drugs than CVS Pharmacy. But some of these guys would get in so deep, and they would be making mistakes where their life would be in jeopardy. Their life would be in jeopardy. So if you're a captain or a boss or underboss, and you're seeing this, and you know that this guy can go bad. This guy can go bad. So he's either gonna go into witness protection, or he's gonna rat, or that goes hand in hand, or they're gonna take him out. They're gonna take him out. But Gotti III said, yeah, there's a lot of his father was, well, his father wasn't, he might have labeled him a degenerate gambler or something along those lines, but he had money. He had the money to do it. The degenerate gambler blows everything they have. A degenerate gambler blows their cash, blows their jewelry, sells their car, and then they get loans from other mob families or within Sam. Sam, a lot of people owed Sam, but the way the old man Sam looked at it, I sat down with him many times. The way he looked at it was, that's his crew. He's 70 something years old. He's got money to the end of time. He's got money to the end of time until he's done. And then he walked away. Yeah, you can walk away from the mafia, okay? There's people that are 70 years old, this and that, and they're done. You might say this family has this captain or underboss like the FBI, but they're not acting. They're just a figurehead. They're just a figurehead of government information, but they're in Hawaii, or they're sitting home in their rocking chair and things like that. But there was a lot of trouble around, and they were running a gambling ring, So I was running around this gambling ring, doing some transfers here and there, and somebody's knuckleheads within the crew, these guys that I would give these guys rides all the time, and they knew I was going to be running an errand, and they might try to look at me as an easy robbery or something, along those lines. You get the gist, folks. You get the gist. So yeah, the gambling that went on, and it caused people to rat. It got people smashed. It led to, action. Yeah. John Gotti III, we're getting pretty far down the line, aren't we? What's that mean? What's that mean? So as far as the mob is concerned, that's why they were getting advances after football and all this. I'd hear them with the old man, let me get 2 or 3 thou, and I gotta pay my bills and do this or that. And the old man would give it to him, blah, 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 and just be like, oh, you know, he made enough money for 25 lifetimes. And he was in a position at that time executing his exit strategy. That satellite club, that satellite part of the enterprise was going to fizzle out, downsize, and just, you know, maybe eliminate that part of a network, a gambling ring network, and just fizzle that out. And whatever crew he had and all that, they're just gonna go. They were all bad actors, anyways. So it was like, see ya. That's a wrap. He's gonna retire on out, and then these other good-looking guys from Brooklyn and stuff, we're gonna just run maybe a boiler room operation, and that's it. All gambling operation where it's just take all big bets. That's it. No $100 bets, no $200 bets. Just take all big bets. Maybe have 10, 15, 20 guys, and that's easy to attack if you're taking action. That's easy to take the bets, do the pay accounting, and then either you paying or receiving. Accounts payable, accounts receivable. That's easy. Sam didn't need 5 guys over there that 3 of them couldn't tie their shoes. They were breaking all the rules. He didn't need that. He didn't need that. So, and there's nothing left up there now anyways. There ain't nothing left after he was gone. There are couple guys were coming up from New York during this transitional thing, and I met a couple of them, and they were just transferring over maybe the roster of names. Well, they would be numbers, like maybe, you know, JT 1002 or whatever. It wasn't their first and last name, but they would just transfer over the roster of names, and they're all good. They're not gonna owe. But yeah, that was a great interview. That was a real good interview. And whatever you see is questionable on everything. I mean, you know, look at the mainstream media, and all the propaganda and all that gibberish. People sit there and go, "Oh, I believe it. Oh, that's true. I believe it." People just want to be sheeple. They're sheeple, and they're hypnotized, and they're buying all that gibberish, and they don't even realize they're going to their own slaughter. It's crazy. It's crazy stuff. Yeah, Gotti III was very, very impressive. How they targeted him over and over and over again, just busted his chops. I would sue the government for misconduct. That's all. But he's right. He's in better finance. He spent over $10 million on legal defense, but now he's built up more. He wrote that book. They did a movie, and now he built himself up again. He don't want to know nothing about the mob. He don't want to know nothing about the mob. The mob doesn't exist in New York City, as far not the traditional mob doesn't exist anymore. Doesn't exist. It doesn't exist. What are they gonna? If the mafia exists, what business are they in? What business are they in? You could go to a doctor and get a prescription for 1,000 OxyContins. I mean, yeah. His son made big money with the Mayweather fight. Yeah. He just wants to ride off into the sunset, you know. That's all I could talk about right now, but you know. So yeah, it was very, very interesting. Very, very interesting. And they really came after Gotti III, man alive. But like they say before, you can't get out of the mob, you know, stuff like that. The 302 wasn't like a three, it was what they call a 5K1. They have different initials for all this and that. He had everything documented. And what are you referring to, Tommy Bahama? It was a 40-minute interview he had to go to. He was going to settle things once and for all. He was going to fight it. He was going to fight it. And they found out that there was so much misconduct that was going on, like you would never believe. They had him in and out of prison. He got indicted over 100 and something charges, 5 charges in what, 17 months? Gotti III didn't rat. Case closed, ladies and gentlemen of the jury. He didn't rat. Holy cow. He did time. So everybody's going to have their opinion on everything else. You know, I can speak my opinion, and, you know, everybody has their own right to their own opinion. I'm not going to pound my opinion into somebody's head. You know, I admit it. I was wrong when I thought he cooperated. He didn't. He didn't. Name one person that Gotti III put in jail. Nobody. Nobody. If people want to be smart and they know all the information, no. Just like his father, he didn't. He didn't. But you watch YouTubers and knuckleheads and all this other stuff, and then people just get hypnotized and they go, oh, geez, that sounds about right. Oh, geez. Guys that weren't even around the mob. Number one. Number two, they don't have any brains to do any type of investigative research on things, you know. Josie Wales, biker clubs, not gang. What are you guys talking about in there? What are you guys talking about? Is a club or is a club a gang? Is a gang a club? No. A club could be a club. A club could be a club without gangs, you know. They had the club, you know. I used to go, you know, if you want to get into terms and definitions of things, you know, it's people meeting at a certain place, and clubs like 81 here in Cleveland. I knew while we're talking about bikers and stuff like that, a long time ago I was selling a lot of marijuana. I was in college and I was selling a lot of marijuana a long time ago, and I knew a couple guys, you know, around and with the clubs. And as far as the marijuana, I back then I could get some real high test stuff a long time ago, and they were cool dudes. And they had those mushrooms back then. Back when mushrooms were you know, like acid and stuff. But there was an old dude from a biker club that he was like, you know how there's people that get high and they, but then you got those people that get high and they're so like they have like genius minds and they have this high intellect and they're, you know, and he was proposing some type of thing to me about these mushrooms, and I don't want to get involved. I didn't want to get involved in it. No, I didn't want to. What do you think was Gotti's future if he hadn't went through with Paul Castellano hit? Well, Sammy the Bull Gravano said that um, uh, he was in the car on that hit, and Gotti III said he wasn't in the car with him. He wasn't in the car. Another one of Sammy the Bull Gravano's bull crap stuff. Another one. Another fairy tale from yeah. They didn't call him a bull because he was a bull, like a strong. Sammy the Bull Gravano wasn't like Sammy the Bull because he was a bull. No, he took steroids before he went to prison because he was a scared little weasel, and he was a bull because he was from Bull's Head or something, wherever the hell it was in Brooklyn or somewhere. He wasn't Sammy the Bull because he was a bull. He was a sawed-off skinny runt. That's what he was. He wasn't a bull like you think. I thought it was for bullshit. Bullhead, Staten Island, Tommy Bahama, Bullhead, Staten Island. I thought it was because he's just bullcrap. He gets up there. Yeah. They offered Gotti III and Sammy the Bull Gravano $1.5 million to do an interview. And Gotti III said, I wouldn't sit and breathe the same air that bum is breathing. That bum. Wouldn't you want to strangle him? Wouldn't you want to strangle him? The Fed's golden boy. How the Feds gave him such carte blanche. Admitted 19 murders, 2 minors. And he's the Fed's golden boy. He's the golden boy. Out there in Colorado and Arizona, doing what is that stuff? Like the ecstasy and all that stuff. Yeah. At least slap him a time or two, huh, Jack the Clipper? Yeah. Sammy. Yes, it's survival. And all he was doing was running all the backdoor rackets and everything else. And they said Gotti stuck up for him, even though Sammy the Bull was shaking down regular people, shaking them down, getting parts of their businesses, doing all this crazy stuff. And Gotti didn't like it. Gotti didn't like it. And he should have got hit. But the stand-up guy that Gotti was, he said no, and he gave word to the other families. Nobody have any ideas about hitting him for all the frivolous stuff that Sammy the Bull Gravano was doing around New York. You know, even the mafia has morals. Sammy the Bull was the worst in the history. He was the worst. They slap him on the hand. They coddle him. They put him in protection. He starts doing all these illegal enterprises. They charge him again, and then he came back and did the rest of whatever. The government will use 10 questionable witnesses that have done 300 crimes to prosecute and go after one guy to make him look guilty for one questionable crime. The federal government will use 10 people that might have 30, 45 bodies and other crimes, and the federal government will use them. And of course, they're going to save their own ass. They're going to tell the federal government whatever they want. They go to the prisons and take them out of the prisons. They go to the streets. We got this and that on you. To formulate a charge on somebody. Yeah. Trevor Ryan, I hear Ankovi Antonio is still up to this same old shenanigans. Sammy was even shaking down the local drug dealer. He was so greedy. All he was interested in money. He wasn't interested in the omerta. He wasn't interested in omerta and, you know, the precepts of the mob and all that. He wasn't interested in that. He didn't care what he had to do. He didn't care anything. He didn't care any about that. He's a megalomaniac, psychopath. What other terms you want to label him with? Spewing all that stuff, but that's his hustle. That's his hustle. That's his hustle. You know. Yeah, Sammy was busy getting beat up in prison by the blacks. Well, they say, then they come out and say Gotti was getting punked in prison. They were saying Gotti was getting punked in prison by that, what was his name? Charlie Walters or something. He come out of the cell opened, the guy punched Gotti, and then he fled, and then the guards came, and they said, but then that guy got out, and then Walter Johnson, there you go, Tommy Bahama's on it. Tommy Bahama's on it. Yeah, sociopath, Josie Wales, sociopath. That was the first word I wanted to. That was the first word I wanted to use. That was the first word I wanted to use. Sociopath. Holy cow. Yeah. Fascinating, you know. Clarissa Tercios, Gotti didn't get punked. They said he was down to fight anyone in the pen. Yeah, he was the street fighter. Sammy the Bull was a skinny, sawed-off runt. He took a charge. He got on steroids and started lifting weights before they put him in prison. Sammy the Bull, like, that's an intimidating name. Sammy the Bull. He's this freaking tall. He's a sawed-off runt. Sammy the Bull. Here, Sammy the Bull. What? It's nothing. Nothing. He didn't even go through the regular ranks when they got Castellano. He didn't go. He went completely against the whole organizations, all the families, to get his position. Underboss. Underboss. He ran his own rackets. He kept all the money. He didn't do the traditional rules and bylaws and the way the mob was run. They say he only pulled the trigger once, and then he had other people do the other 19. I don't know. I don't know. I mean, I don't know. I don't know. Maybe Tommy Bahama knows. Maybe the Tommy Bahama. Sammy has good stories, but he looks like an extraterrestrial now. I saw him, you know. Yeah, you know, he's got interesting stories. You know, I was crazy. I went crazy when Mike Francis got on his channel, and he wasn't saying some things that might have been 100%. And the people, Ivan, you know that I've bashed Mike a lot of times because of some of the gibberish he was spewing. But because I think about the people that can't defend themselves, because Mike waited for everybody to die off or they're all doing life in prison. And then, by the way, he ran off to his fortress in California and, did what he did. Yeah, survival is survival. I understand that. But what he was doing was in all the interviews and all the stuff he was doing in the networks, he was always saying, former mob boss, former mob boss, former mob boss. All the titles, all the things. Now, Mike, I really respect his political views. He's a very, very intelligent individual, Mike Francis. But he's smart enough to know you can't claim rank jump like that. He wasn't even like a traditional, if you wanted to call him a captain. He was just a money type of guy that he had his own different people that weren't even with the regular family, it didn't even, it was just like a satellite thing with the Colombo family. And my godfather did work for that family, but it wasn't from any work that Mike told him to do. It wasn't from any work that Mike told him to do. No. He had a satellite thing, the gas tax scheme and all that everybody heard about, and that was his claim to fame and all that. That's all debatable, but there, whatever. We're not going to unpack that. But he got up there, started YouTube, and more Colombo mob boss, former mob boss. Come on, man. He wasn't a boss. If you misrepresent yourself back in the day when the families were all up and going, that you wouldn't last 1 minute. I come on here and tell you I wasn't a made guy, just out of respect. I wasn't a made guy. I was around them, but I didn't want to be Colombo's Ivan. Colombo. I don't want to, I don't want to join that, So, right, Vincent Hernandez. Yeah, he wasn't at that. He wasn't that. That's fabricated. That's fabricated. But when I was talking about Mike Francis, God bless him, he has a right to hustle. Yeah, Deb, you see, I've hung the horse up. Thank you, honey. Mike's very smart, but you can't fabricate your claim and your rank and everything like that. You can't misrepresent that. You just can't misrepresent that. But he sits down with the son of Sam. Mike Francis goes to the prison, visits the son of Sam, who terrorized the neighborhoods of New York. Terrorized. You're going to sit up there. He's trying to sell wine. He's selling Berkowitz's book. Like, you don't have enough money already. You slap all those people, all those families from where I was born and where he is from. You slap all those families, victims, and the terror that the son of Sam caused during that era. You slap them all across the face. You do a big interview with the son of Sam so you could sell some wine and get a piece of the son of Sam's book. What? He's got no scruples. He's got totally no scruples. Yeah, can you imagine Mike Francis hugging the son of Sam back in 1977? Total Because you know why? Because he wasn't a real captain. He wasn't an underboss. Because if he was a real one, that that deal would never be on the table. That would never be on the table. Go meet Son of Sam in prison and do it. I mean, he has a right to hustle. He has a right to hustle, but he is not a representative of that. Yeah, Eddie Love, how you doing, Eddie Love? He is no Christian. He's fake like his mob life. I gotta agree with that. Yeah, Son of Sam. Yeah, yeah, Tommy Bahama. These people got facts. These people got facts over here. Getting up there talking all that gibberish. So he knows he wasn't a boss. He knows he wasn't an underboss. He knows he wasn't a captain. He was a satellite guy. Yeah, he had a good head on his shoulders. Yes. But do you think the Colombo family was the only family that got money off of that gas tax scheme? You think you think the other four families just sat there and go, "Wow, good one, Mike." There was Russians involved too. There was other people involved in that gas tax scheme. But you think they didn't come say, "Hey, listen, Mike. By the way, uh, you know, we see what happened. We seen, word is out about this thing. Some of that's, you're gonna have to send some envelopes our way, which is very smart. Put those fires out before they even start. All right. Well, I appreciate everybody coming in here. Hit the like button. My channel's starting again. I'm going to start now that I'm building up again. We'll do some more mob stories and other types of things. So everybody, I truly appreciate you coming in here, hanging out with me. And my charter's going to run, but this is the second one I did today. So let's see what do I got left. I'm about to blank out here. So I appreciate it. Hit the like button, subscribe, share, notification, all that. We're going to keep rocking and rolling. I hope everybody stays safe. Have a nice holiday. I'm going to get my channel rolling again here, and we're going to have Josie Wales. Thank you. This might just cut right off, so I'm not gonna be rude. Anderson Drums, Hernandez, Trevor Ryan. Thank you, Eddie Love, Debbie, Trevor Ryan, Tommy Bahama. Clarissa, hello, Clarice, Josie Wales, everybody. I appreciate everything. We're gonna keep rocking and rolling, and we'll get down on some good mob stories. There's some good juice in there, and then I talk about some current events and things too. All right, folks. God bless y'all. Stay safe. Don't do too much partying during the holidays. It could be depressing time, but we suffer from loss and grief, but just hang in there. All right. So thank you very much. Good night, everybody.